And we begin tonight at 6 with the Vice President coming here to Indiana for a meeting behind closed doors with top state Republicans.
The group expected to discuss efforts to redraw congressional district lines here in the state of Indiana. We have team coverage for you tonight. We have our Brandon Schaff. He's at the State House, and that's where protesters gathered today protesting against the VP's visit. And we're going to start our coverage tonight with our State House reporter Emily Longnecker. She heard from Democrats today who are saying not so fast.
Well, Governor Braun said he and the vice president discussed an array of topics today, and the subject of redistricting did come up. Now, earlier this week, Governor Braun said he hadn't made any commitments around this subject. Meantime, Democrats in the state say they are committed to fighting back against any proposal to redraw this state's congressional maps. Right now, those maps consist of 9 congressional seats, 2 held by Democrats, 7 by Republicans. Those 2 Democratic seats, the 1st congressional district held by Representative Frank Mervan, the 7th congressional district, that's Congressman Andre Carson's seat. Both were at a rally today at the Indiana State House with state Democratic lawmakers. The vice president's visit comes a day after the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, a milestone Congressman Carson pointed out, saying the vice president may have missed the irony of his visit a day later. A visit, Carson said, that was part of trying to disenfranchise voters by silencing their voices at the polls come the midterms in 2026.
A democracy belongs to the people. And the people are making their voices heard. We will not accept our state being cut and spliced and maneuvered for a wannabe king in Donald Trump. We won't accept our democracy to turn into a dictatorship.
And some of those voters were here today. My colleague Brandon Schaff talked to some of them about the topic of redistricting and whether they were concerned about it or not. Brandon?
Yeah, good evening, Emily. And yes, they did have a lot of opinions about the vice president's visit here to the State House today as he met with Governor Braun. Let's take a look at what that scene looked like earlier today with lots of people here in the State House. They were in the rotunda, hundreds of people gathering, many of them with signs, and they were making it clear their stance on Vice President J.D. Vance's visit here to the state capitol. Vance leaving the State House after a morning meeting with top Republican lawmakers, as we have heard, and including Governor Braun. Well, they talked about the potential effort to redraw Indiana's congressional districts, and I spoke with Kevin Galley about that, who moved here in 2018 from Wisconsin. He's a retired attorney and registered Democrat, telling me that it was important for his voice to be heard at the State House today. He talked about President Donald Trump, saying that the GOP is entitled to congressional seats in Texas, and this is the next step here in Indiana. That concept of entitlement, he says, was what brought him here in opposition.
Democracy doesn't entitle an occupant of the Oval Office to anything. He's got to work through the constitutional process. He's got to abide the rule of law just like every one of us.
Galley added that he hopes that the governor will use reason and caution, listening to the vice president's message about redistricting. And he says that Vance coming to Indiana today highlights the thin Republican majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. He also told me about what is so important to him, and what brought him here to the State House as well is really just about protecting democracy. Back to you guys.
Brandon reporting live from the State House for us tonight. Thanks so much. Indiana House Speaker Todd Huston sharing a statement with 13 News today after the VP's visit, saying in part, quote, "I appreciate the opportunity to meet with Vice President Vance today and share many of the successes we're experiencing in Indiana. We had a meaningful discussion, heard the Vice President's perspective on a number of topics, and will continue conversations as we work to advance Indiana and deliver results for Hoosiers."
Well, our temperatures have certainly been warming up over the last couple of days. Let's put some numbers to that. 88 was how warm we were today, but 87 is where we sit now. So the temperatures have started to ease their way back down. Hasn't necessarily been because of rain cooling, although we have had some rain showers that have shown up on radar. They have been very isolated in nature. And when we talk about isolated storms or stray showers, boy, this is what we're talking about. There have been a few that have popped up here and there, but overall, the vast majority of you had not had any rain showers to pop up. This is what you can expect over the next several days. Not in the same locations. You just may be one of the unlucky few that get one of those quick downpours. I think overall things should quiet down this evening. We'll take those 80s, we'll cool them back down into the 70s, and I think 70 is a nice round number to call our overnight low temperature, although many of you may drop into the upper 60s. Looking ahead to tomorrow, another day just like today. Mostly sunny skies with a high temperature of 90, so just a little bit warmer, and that warming trend is going to continue into the weekend. Have a look at that weekend forecast coming up.
Tonight, a second teen is under arrest in connection to a triple shooting along the canal downtown.
The arrest comes more than a month after the shooting took place. All of this unfolding around 3:30 in the morning on June 21st. Police are telling us that officers found 2 men and a juvenile who had both been shot.
Police did not give details on how they believe the 17-year-old is involved. IMPD arrested 18-year-old Anthony Ford back in June related to the shooting. He now is facing several charges, including aggravated battery.
Tonight at 6, IMPD is now investigating after a woman says 2 men made racial slurs to her family and then put a hole in her car.
This happened yesterday at a gas station on the far northeast side, right close to Fishers. Ashton Hackman shows us the damage to her car and also shares what she says happened.
Rakita Spears Easter says this hole in the driver door of her car came from 2 men who were next to her at the Meyer gas station on the far northeast side. She says the men made racial remarks and slurs when she pulled up. She ignored it, locked her car with her kids in the back seat, and went in to pay for gas. When she came out, her son was crying.
I noticed that the hole in my car. I asked my son what happened. He explained to me that the 2 gentlemen that were throwing out racial slurs when I first got to the gas station, one of them walked up and started either banging or pushing on this window, and then he yelled out some racial slurs and then took a tool from the vehicle that they were driving and swung it and hit my door.
Metro Police are investigating what happened and looking for the people responsible. Anyone with information or who might have saw anything are asked to give IMPD a call. In Indianapolis, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
Tonight, a 56-year-old man is under arrest, charged with trying to kidnap a teen mom and her son.
Police say the man was working as a rideshare driver when he picked up an 18-year-old mom and her infant son from their home on Tuesday.
The woman then told police that Frankie Lands then canceled the ride and started driving in the wrong direction before she eventually escaped the vehicle with her child. He now is charged with 3 counts of attempted kidnapping.
Still to come, Butler is expanding its educational services with a new program.
We have the drive between introducing engineering majors for students there on the Butler campus. Rob?
Well, temperatures are expected to move back into the 90s just in time for the weekend. Plenty of sunshine, but we've also got some rain chances. I'll have a look at that weekend forecast.
A species typically found in the south is now making its way north.
We have the animal that now is calling Indiana home.